This is episode 181 of the Break 80 podcast. Stouds here, joined by Mike as well as Tim, who's back from his trip to Las Vegas. Welcome back, Tim. How was the as once upon a time, Mike? I don't know if you saw this show. You're old enough. Back in the Laguna Beach days and stuff like that. But there's another show on the West Coast. You know what I'm referring to?
Well, I know if it's like Laguna Beach, I didn't watch it because I did not watch that because I was a college male or something. But
oh God, it was on the CW Las Vegas.
What other show is out there? The OC.
Oh, yeah, you got it. The OC referred to it as the Vegas. So, Timmy, how was the Vegas?
God, I don't know how people do it. So I was there for a work meeting Monday through Thursday, and we did not leave the building. And I completely understand this Vegas flu that people talk about. You're under the fluorescent lights. You're surrounded by just constant cigarette smoke in these rooms. There's just so many flashing lights, so busy. I had this malaise and this haze. And then the moment I walked outdoors, it all went away. It was amazing. It was life-changing to walk out of the wind into the sunlight and just snap through whatever weird fluorescent hangover I had. I will say thank you to Cabot Run Properties out there, Cirquette, which is the former Rio Seco, and to Cascada for having us out. Also, a big thank you to Las Vegas Country Club, who had us out. So we got a chance to see two of the best Cabot Run properties here in the U.S. and had a chance to kind of relive some moments from the movie Casino out there as well on the golf course.
What does that mean?
The movie Casino, Jeff?
Yeah, like you said on the golf course. What does that mean?
Were you cutting off people who were cheating at cards, hands and stuff with saws or what?
I'm confused.
Yep, pretty much. Las Vegas National, the home from Casino, sits right off the first tee on the left side.
Did not know that.
And then a number of different, as I'm told, I fell asleep during the movie on the flight home. I took a red eye back, but a number of scenes happen at Las Vegas Country Club as well. Most notably there, they have a downed airplane in the 10th pond where the FBI was attempting to spy on some of the member mobsters at the time, ran out of fuel, had to crash land it, decided not a good idea to put it down on the street, not a good idea to put it on the golf course for risk of injury to the players. So they crash landed it into one of the ponds. And what does the membership elect to do after the FBI has pulled it out of the pond and taken it away? Well, they go build a replica and put it right back in there.
Interesting. Well, what did you think of the golf, Tim? The Vegas golf, is it deserty? Are we looking at you got to play elevation situations because you're at whatever above sea level? What is it as in terms of comparing it to Palm Springs, to Scottsdale, to places like that?
I would say that Cirquette and Cascada are very much desert golf. Cirquette is a little bit less elevation change than Cascada, where you're climbing upwards of 1,000 feet during your round, up a mountain and back down. I would almost compare Cascada a little bit to Wolf Creek in some of the zaniness of the architecture, some of the massive drops that you experience, and really out of this world architecture. Granted, a little bit harder than Wolf Creek because the fairways are just a little bit tighter and they don't bowl in. Some actually run off into the desert. But you get these beautiful mountain views. They artificially pump a bunch of water up the mountain to allow it to flow down through the course. So it is a bit of an oasis tucked between the different ridges. And it has one of the best views of a golf course I've ever seen. You probably can see for 50 miles on the highest most point on the course. Cirquette, a little bit flatter, a lot of turns right and left with a lot of the tee shots. Very, very great greens. I mean, just pure. You could see exactly where you needed to roll it and you could find that line immediately. And the backdrop, it's just downtown Vegas, baby. Unfortunately, Mike, I did not wait long enough to to see downtown Vegas lit up with the drone. We had
Yeah.
to come off the course.
It's the one course you're supposed to do it at.
And then Las Vegas National and Las Vegas Country Club are kind of brother sister, although Las Vegas National has fallen on hard times. It hosted the 1996 Las Vegas Open that Tiger famously won. He actually shot even on the course. It was his hardest round, his worst round. And now locals can play this place for $70. The greens need some serious work. They are missing grass in places. In essence, it just needs a returf, but it is a classic kind of country club design. And then you get to probably the beautiful diamond out there in the Las Vegas heat, and that is Las Vegas Country Club. Greens rolling, stimping at 12, thick rough, not a desert to be seen out on that course. It feels Midwestern to its core. Tons of ponds, streams, dog legs, and Mike, you'd love this, all reachable par fives.
Aren't most of them?
I
I mean,
okay.
You should be saying that to me, not Mike.
Most par fives,
most
unless you're playing like a tour setup, most par fives are always reachable. It's just a matter of whether you want to go for it or not with trouble up there.
6,900 yards, and every par five except one was reachable with a good tee shot. But every single one of those par fives usually had some surround of water around the green, which made it a really fun risk reward.
Awesome. Well, the golf world certainly has had some news over the past few days, from the amazing story of Gary Woodland, which I'm really excited to touch on, as well as what you probably have heard from every, not just golf, podcast, media stuff, but just sports in general, the Tiger Woods situation. So we thought we'd talk about it. I guess the one advantage we have of discussing this Tuesday is the new things that have come out. I'm pretty sure everybody that's listening to this podcast already knows all the stuff that happened. So let's kind of past that part. I want to get to the information that's kind of come out recently, and we can focus on that and obviously get our takes on where this is headed and where we think about it. But this is what came out today. Tiger Woods, the DUI police officer, the police office report came out, and it said that Tiger Woods says he glanced at his phone when the car had slowed down. Officers observed Woods as lethargic, slow, and sweating profusely. 2 white pills in his pocket, which it says here is hydrocodone. Is that how you say that, Tim?
Yep, hydrocodone. Yep.
Okay, and then eyes were bloodshot, glassy, and extremely dilated. So that was the report. And then on top of that, Tiger does put out a statement here real quick, and then we'll kind of get to everything else. But Tiger says, I know and understand the seriousness of the situation I find myself in today. I'm stepping away for a period of time to seek treatment and focus on my health. This is necessary in order for me to prioritize my well-being and work toward lasting recovery. I'm committed to taking the time needed to return to a healthier, stronger, and more focused place, both personally and professionally. I appreciate your understanding and support and ask for privacy for my family, loved ones, and myself at this time. So that's where we currently are at in this whole saga of Tiger Woods. Yet another Tiger Woods situation. He was once known for playing amazing golf. Now he's known for getting in a rollover accident every year and a half.
Man, he admitted to being distracted by his phone. That's a weird thing to admit to. Also, when he flipped, actually didn't flip, just rolled over that Land Rover. I think he had a Land Rover, right? Genesis is going to cut that deal, maybe.
He had a Land Rover. Yeah, how are you driving a Genesis?
He had 2 pills in his pocket. Why would he not have just tossed them into the woods or something? He was right by a woods. He just left them in his pocket.
The question isn't, are the drugs legal? I think obviously the drugs are legal, so it's really not an issue to have.
They're legal, but when he didn't take the urine test right away, that was a pretty obvious thing when they found 2 pills in his freaking pocket. But yeah, no, it's, yeah.
Jeff, was that quote that you read, was that from 2026 or was that from 2017? Because
I don't know.
I'm doing a piece on his not guilty plea that he entered in today. and they are nearly identical quotes. So if at first you don't succeed, try again.
And nothing about not driving in his thing again. He's going to keep driving apparently.
Yeah, he said it's a privacy concern for him to hire a driver, which is just wild, because you think you could find someone that's very much background checked.
You would
think you have a direct line into the Secret Service.
You'd think he could just. He's worth $1.5 billion. Couldn't he just hire a buddy for like $200,000 a year to be his driver? Like you'd think.
Well, if it's Tiger's clearly he's going to get treatment because he's addicted, and I think everybody kind of read the tea leaves. They connected the dots. I mean, he's always looked kind of swole. I mean, I still think he's got some steroid thing going too. I mean, ever since he's looked bigger, his body can't hold up. I mean, there's just a lot going on there. Tiger Woods is a great golfer, but that's the only thing that he does better than everybody else. I mean, let's be honest. He's a human. He can swing the golf club. He's always.
We've seen some images, Jeff. That I don't know if you've seen them, but Tim.
He can swing a lot of things.
Yeah, he does that better than 99% of human beings also. But
what I'm getting at, though, but that's part of it too. You know, the off the course womanizing and going through all the things that he's been through. It's just he cannot. He's been troubled for a long time. I mean, let's be honest. Like this is not a just a year stint of things. This is a number, and it just keeps going. I mean, every time we get news, it's either a surgery or something he's done off the course at this point, outside of his 2019 win in the last like 8 years. It's unbelievable what he's able to do to get himself in the news. And I think there's a deep drug addiction there that's been there for a long time.
Well, here's the thing, right? As far as the medications are concerned, had he stayed home, had he not been behind the wheel, nothing about his medication cocktail is illegal by any means. And in 2017, when he got his DUI, and they did a urine analysis, then it was hydromorphone, hydrocodone, which are both Schedule II opioids. It was a benzodiazepine. It was a hypnotic sleep agent, and it was THC. So it's called concomitant use when you take multiple things together when they're in your body together. And an opioid is not to be taken with a hypnotic sleep agent, is not to be taken with a pain medication. And the three of them on top of each other is kind of the pathway to dying, in essence. I mean, they all hyper react upon each other to have a heavily sedating effect. If we took that same cocktail, gentlemen, and had a sip of alcohol, we would die, guaranteed, as we have no tolerance here in this room, unless you guys are doing something I don't know about.
Lots of ibuprofen before golf.
You know, I would really die. I don't think it'd take much.
All of us would die.
Well, I mean, some of the painkillers are incredibly addictive too. Like really, some of the hardest drugs to get off, I think, are the ones he is on. Like they're really difficult to get off.
That sleep agent and that anxiety medication are incredibly hard to get off as well. Those are two that you can die from coming off. You will have a terrible time coming off your opiate. You can die coming off the other two. So the cocktail that he has is particularly unique because you're supposed to do them all together under one umbrella. So if you've got a pain medication that's an opioid and you have a benzodiazepine, which is an anti-anxiety medication, they're supposed to be prescribed by the same doctor. So you can co-manage those medications. Although one's a psych med and one is a pain medication. I'm going to assume that he's keeping his provider separate because I don't know many doctors that would touch all four of those simultaneously in a human. It's a very risky situation to do that, especially as you start to build tolerance on your opioid side quickly. Also, what's going on with Tiger that he still needs anxiety medications in 2017 or currently?
Well, who knows? I mean, I'm sure he's pushing and trying to get himself back to play. But I mean, and we could talk about that part in a second, because I think there is an aspect where, and the PGA Tour did release a statement today, basically saying he needs to get his life in order. But and we can talk about that in a second, because there's an aspect I think where he gets pulled in so many directions by so many people and all this stuff. TGL is a perfect example. They trotted him out for the championship match to swing like 10 swings, like just to have Tiger out there to get ratings for sure. But the driving aspect, like this is his fourth incident that we know. Like Tim and I were talking about this yesterday when we were golfing. Who knows how many times in Jupiter he's been pulled over by the police, and they just say, get home safe, get home, Tiger. Probably more than we think. But he's got 2009, right, when he hit the fire hydrant when Elan was chasing him with the golf club or whatever the hell that was.
Classic South Park episode.
Yeah. Then 2017 was the first DUI, basically the identical drug concoction, right?
Great T-shirt.
Yeah. 20. What year was the Genesis? 21, where he was going 80 and a 40 and never braked, according to all of the police files. And now this one where I've been to Jupiter. Jupiter is as flat as a pancake. There's no hills. And it's a very wealthy like enclave of Florida. The speed limits are mostly like 25 or 30 everywhere, because nobody's in a hurry to get anywhere, because it's all millionaires and billionaires, whatever. And he was supposedly going, what, Tim? What do we see? 65 or something in a 25?
65 or 70, trying to overtake some sort of landscaping.
Yeah, it had a big water. It had a water thing in the back of some truck or something. But I mean, he's clearly got a control problem where he will not give up driving. I'm sure we could trace it all the way back to childhood, really, where his whole life has really been dictated for him. He has not been in much control other than when he's golfing, on the course. Like that guy has been not in much control of his life ever. He's been, since he was on Johnny Carson, or whatever it was, at like age 2, already talking like a polished person in front of the media. So he's been controlled his whole life. So I think that's part of his reason for not giving up the driving. It's like he wants control over something. Has to be.
I think part of the issue here too is, where do you go with these medications? I don't think there's a question that Tiger Woods is in real severe pain, just because of some of the injuries he's sustained. The back, dead indicator that you're going to be on some sort of long-term pain medication or support of some sort. And then you've got a completely shattered leg. But there are alternatives, and it's going to be really interesting to see if we see Tiger in some sort of pain pump or shock device, or at least move him over to a non-opioid pain remedy that surprisingly helps with anxiety too. You can kill kind of two birds with one stone.
Don't you think it's all gonna kind of fall back on how competitive he wants to try to be golfing? Because if he really truly was thinking about playing at Augusta this week or next week, and wants to play in events down the road, he's going to keep telling himself that he's got to take these pain meds and whatever, so he can actually swing a golf club. Like he is telling himself that.
He might be able to swing it, but we saw him putt during TGL. He missed a 2.5 footer. Like, I'm sure that hole is vibrating at that point.
Well, did you see the sweat running off his head playing hitting 9 swings of sim golf? He was sweating like he'd just run 10 miles.
Yeah, there's something there. I'm interested to see if he does kind of go away for a while. I think at one point he was off, like he was like a sex addict and was at, treatment for that. Like he's just got a lot going on. If he shows up and we don't see him, let's say for 6 months, 8 months, I don't know. I'm curious to see if his body kind of changes, less swollen, face, like not so like upper top heavy. Like, does he start to get back to a little bit more life in the eyes? His eyes are just so not much there. I would love to see what he looks like when he's dead sober. And, I would like to know if his golf game improves, and I mean, you know what, this is golf aside, he's got a lot. I know we're all like wondering, Tiger screwed up a lot. I think at some point as fans of Tiger just golfing, we have to just kind of put that on the back burner and he just fools with us too much. Like we just get excited too much about it. But in reality, there's a lot of good golf to watch right now. I mean, he's 50. It's not like he's probably
No.
going to go out and win a Masters again. It's like maybe we could see him win on the senior tour. I mean, crying out loud, Zach Johnson is top 10 in driving distance on the senior tour. I think Tiger could maybe find a way, but like, let's just get in order. My goodness, the guy just cannot stay out of the media for the wrong reasons.
He really probably is quite lucky that he hasn't killed somebody at this point. He's been in multiple crashes. I'm sure he drives his kids around. The Secret Service said he can't drive Trump's grandkids around anymore. But like, you think about this, he probably drives in somewhat of that condition every single day. Like, he's taking these meds every single day to get himself to practice and do all this stuff he's got to do. He probably drives every day like that. I'm sure they got him on a specific dose, right? Tim would know this, but like, I'm sure he's not screwing around with that. And I doubt he just took more one day. I bet you he takes these every day. He's on the same concoction every day of life, I bet.
Oh, guaranteed. I maybe take half of an extra one once in a while if the pain is particularly bad. I think the main issue is, and obviously he's been blowing zeros, but the minute you touch one other extra substance that sets off that category, this is what it leads to. And maybe things were titrated well, but there is such a fine line between not being impaired and being exceptionally impaired on these type of medications.
Yeah, and I go back to the driving thing. I'm sure coaches and agents and all kinds of people have tried to get him to stop driving. And who will he listen to? Will he listen to his own kids? If his two kids say, "Hey, stop," like, who will he listen to? And just stop driving? Like, my God, he's worth $1 billion. He could easily hire a driver.
That's not what it's not that. I mean,
it's a control thing.
You know, I think about Johnny Hockey, the guy that hit him, his brother that got killed. Yeah, yep. The guy that got killed would be on the USA Olympic team, with his kids out there getting killed just running on the side of the road. How easily could he have done,
easily
multiple times? I mean, he's like a cat. He's got 9 lives, but it's not just his life that we're getting lucky. It's others. I mean, my gosh. I mean, it's 2 p.m. and he's just out of his gourd. It's like, dude.
Well, I'm sure he's out of his gourd every day, though, because if you remember the few times he's went on TV and talked during professional events, he kind of slurs his words and like doesn't sound good, doesn't sound right. Like, he's on these meds every day. Like, that's just his lifestyle at the current moment. Has to be.
Tim, what causes the sweating? Why does he sweat so much?
That I'm not 100% sure. I want to say it's probably like a vasodilator as well, but I'm not 100% sure on the opioid sweats necessarily. I
mean, I know he's a sweater in general. He's always kind of sweat quite a bit when he's played, but like,
yeah, but it's the opiates and that lead to that sweating and to the eye dilation.
Well, he pled not guilty, so he's gonna have a trial.
Well, I don't think he did a urine analysis. I think somehow he got out of that. So
unless he pleads out, unless they plead him down to some smaller thing or something.
Yeah,
he'll get a fine. He'll get a fine and some probation, I'm sure.
A fine, some community service, and hopefully for his good as well.
Take his license. Take his license for a year. They should at this point.
They have to. And what is Tiger? Has he ever kind of showed any sort of accountability for anything, really? I can't remember him ever really just saying, I need help. Like with the media, not release. I'm tired of him releasing statements. It's like he wants to hide behind the curtain, just put a statement out.
That's just him. That's always been him. Like, he's like, going back to earlier, he's been taught that from like a young age to be this like robot.
Don't you think? Don't you think if he just comes out in person, just says, "Here's my vice. Here's my," and just throws it out there, people can relate to him more than trying to like hide behind the curtains. Like, I think it's best at this point to just say, "Here's what I've been dealing with," and
that's what I was going to say. He needs to explain it.
Yeah, it sucked. It's I've had issues going back to X amount of years, whatever, and just say, my hope is going forward, I can, the accountability of my fans and my loved ones can bring me on this path of getting better instead of being secretive again and just going, I'm going to go get help secretively and just, I'll magically get better as I'm. No, I think it might hold him more accountable if the public is aware of what he's dealing with. Think of all the people that have gone through this stuff, like actors and like Charlie Sheen coming up saying what he was doing.
Tiger blood, Charlie Sheen.
If you just literally come out and just say, I did this, it's like the old Eminem, in 8 Mile. If I just rap about all the bad things I've done, you got nothing on me anymore.
Yeah. He won't. He's too guarded. He's never going to do that. I agree. It would help a lot because he can explain, I got to do this, this, and this to try to actually play this game or whatever, or survive the day. But he won't. He's way too guarded for that. He has a statement that came out today, and that'll be it. Probably. Unless the PGA Tour suspends him, which they won't.
He always has something, he's the driving force of golf. He's the needle, and he kind of knows that he's always got the upper hand. But at this point, somebody has to look at more of a person instead of a moneymaker.
Well, but that's the second part I was going to get to. Like, that's part of the problem here is the PGA Tour and whoever else, they trot him out for all this stuff all the time. And I'm just, and that becomes the talk. Like, that's been the talk for the last few months. Is Tiger going to play the Masters? Is he not? Is he going to, is going to do this? Is going to do that? He has been used, in a way. And it's kind of sad actually, that's kind of what it's become, is they kind of trot him out there for things. And he's got a lot of expectations on him, but if he wanted to play at Augusta next week, they'd have to let him. They let Angel Cabrera after he got out of prison for assaulting his wife or whatever.
What a league we could put together.
He would, Tiger would for sure be. They would have to let him play.
Scotty, Angel, John Daly. The list goes on and on of bad boys on the PGA Tour.
I don't think he will, but I do kind of hope. Like, I don't know if he'll do this either. I think he'll kind of lay low. I do kind of hope he'd go to that Champions dinner on Tuesday night or something, and maybe those guys would rally around him a little bit and say, "Hey, get the help you need. We'll take care of this stuff as best we can till you're ready to actually come back and be normal." And if he never is ready, then so be it. He gave us a hell of a run there for 20 years. I don't know where he's gonna go from this unless he dries out somehow.
Well, does Tiger have friends, friends, not just buddies on tour, but legit?
He's got
friends
a couple.
That
O'Meara and Fred Couples. He's got a few that are pretty good friends.
But that actually would everybody's kind of got maybe the Tiger thing where you just can't quite be honest with them because it's Tiger. Somebody that actually gets in his face and says, what needs to be done. That's what the best of friends do, even if they know it's going to maybe impact the relationship, because I don't know if he he can just see so secretive that he's really guarded. And I bet what you consider a friend is probably different than what Tiger does, because he knows he has these things, that these underground lying issues, and he probably has a hard time letting anybody into his inner circle in terms of just deep friendships, not surface friendships, not hey buddy, fist bump, like legit relationships. And like Mike said, because he's always so guarded and he's grown up like this, it's already hard to get into that hard exterior of Tiger. Is just tough to penetrate, right? Media can't do it. He's had relationship issues that have had a hard time doing it with women. I even wonder what his relationship was like with his kids. Like, how deep is that?
I'm sure he has some people. He's got to have somebody.
There's only one guy that can solve this. The guy that can make this go away for him, and the only guy that might have a little bit more power than him and money. And that's Donald Trump. He's got to step in.
He's
a part of the family.
That ain't happening. His approval rating's all time the lowest ever for a president.
Well,
if you want to get any lower,
it will rip it into Tiger.
Well, accountability on both ends. There is it.
Yeah, not much of a thing. I don't know. It's just
guys.
It's just pretty sad that this is what it's come to. And it's I don't know.
It is a sad situation, and I don't know if anybody has anything. The best thing about golf this week is that we got a story that is the exact opposite end of the spectrum. And
Not sad at all.
what is it?
Gary Woodland.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I mean,
I know.
we go from one end of the spectrum of just, dude, what are we doing, to one of the, I reflect on this. It's like golf is amazing. It's just got this ability each year to just find a way, like unlike any other sport. We get stories that are just so incredible, and Gary Woodland winning this week has been no different. I mean, he just recently came out a couple weeks ago talking about dealing with his, publicly dealing with his PTSD. I mean, like, the last thing that you would have thought is that he would find a way to scrap out a win on the PGA Tour, and not only that, be in the lead for the entire weekend, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, the whole PTSD thing, I still don't really understand. Is it PTSD from before the surgery? Because the surgery has kind of cleared it all up, supposedly, for the most part. So I'm a little. Has he ever really elaborated on what is causing him the post-traumatic stress? I've never looked into it to read it, but
area of the brain where he had his lesion, the amygdala, is kind of the center for some of those emotions, and in there are things like anxiety and fear.
Yeah, no, I get that part, but like,
I think it's likely just that PTSD is around that, because there's no logical reason, if you have that lesion, to have that fear, to have maybe even those visions. So his PTSD is likely relating back to this overwhelming sense of fear. When is that going to come back? It's got to be in control of my emotions again.
It's got to be prior stuff, right?
I'm thinking it could be just around his life when he was diagnosed. I mean, he talks about having to write letters to his family, basically, if I don't survive this.
Yeah.
To each of his family members. I'm thinking it's putting him in positions of just what he's gone through. That's the only thing I could really think of. I don't know if there's anything much more deeper than that, because this all stemmed from the surgery and from his, it was a tumor, Tim? It was
a lesion.
A lesion.
A lesion. Okay.
It was pressing on his amygdala there.
I mean, what a delight though to watch him finish it off. I mean, I'm an emotional guy. I'll be honest. I can cry pretty easy. And when I watch a guy like that win a golf tournament, that's the only emotion I will cry by myself. I'll cry if my wife's I'll cry. And it's so cool to see that moment, hug his wife and his caddy. And he talked about it. Like, it's like just because you win a tournament doesn't cure this situation. He's going to be dealing with it, until he finds a way to cope. But the fact that he could have this moment to maybe now go back to kind of maybe bring him out of this some of stuff, and could be a kind of a road back to getting a little bit healthier and more mental clarity for him. But man, what were you guys' takes on not just the story, but just watching him play golf? Because he's not really been in a contention type atmosphere. I like watching him golf. His swing is fascinating.
I love watching all the stinger compilations that are out there this week.
We don't get a lot of Gary Woodland.
Epic stingers.
We haven't got a lot of Gary Woodland in a long time. I mean, he won at Pebble
2017, wasn't it? Pebble, I believe, something like that.
It's been a minute since. And watching him this weekend, because he was always in the lead, we got to see tons of golf swings. What was your take? I mean, he's leading the tour in ball speed.
What shaft is that? Is that a extra stiff, or is he whipping the stiff shafts like that?
Sure,
because that lag is insane.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's an extra stiff, but he's got a lot of speed. He's up to 196. He was at this event, which is crazy because he's not young. Now, he is a phenomenal athlete. He was a great basketball player. Played some college basketball.
Division II, I believe, basketball.
Division II basketball.
Mike, you and Gary Woodland.
Me and Gary could have some great conversations if we ever run into him again about D2 hoops. But yeah, I guess the one thing I would have loved to have seen, and I wanted Gary Woodland to win because by all accounts, even before his medical issues, He's like beloved on tour by everybody. Apparently, he's a great dude. Nobody says a bad thing about him. I would have loved to have seen it be a little closer and see how he reacted, like if it got tight, because he walked away. He won by 5 shots. I mean, it was a cakewalk. We were golfing, Jeff. We were watching. There was nobody that ever challenged him.
Well, I mean, he had to settle into that round really quickly though, because his lead at the start wasn't big. I think it was a 1 or 2 stroke over Højgaard.
But Højgaard had a big lead over everybody else too. Yeah. It was those two, and then Højgaard made bogeys early, and it was like
Woodland started his round with I think a 15-foot par putt on the first hole that he sunk and really settled in after that. But the nerves could have been shot had that gone past the hole, and we could
think about Saturday, Tim. Outcome. Saturday, he dang near hit a ball, which I thought would be out of bounds. I mean, he's against a fence.
Jeff's freezing up.
Oh, the Buffalo internet.
The Buffalo internet cutting out.
Internet. No,
I
was just saying Saturday, he got a situation where his first drive way right, just lost it, spun out of it a little bit. Tim and I can relate, the little high spinner to the right, left for me, right for Tim. But anyways, he got a free drop from that. Makes bogey from that, and it's like, it was fun while it lasted, Gary. You bogeyed the first hole on Saturday. I know you're in the lead. It's gonna melt, but no, that was, I think, the only bogey he made, or maybe one more bogey. The rest of the day made sprinkled in a bunch of birdies. I mean, we've all had that situation where that first hole you get the jitters and you just can't get your round back, and he dealt with it really well. So Tim, even maybe if you missed that, I would love to have seen him, knowing that he could recall on his Saturday round when I bogeyed the first hole and I could still shoot a good score. I bet he would have been able to, mentally, psychologically find hopefully a safe space there. But yeah.
Tim, in all honesty, Jeff and I were golfing, so I didn't watch it all. We didn't watch any of this, but I do know that Michael Thorbjornsen and Adam Scott did not play well, because Jeff was a train wreck about his guys in fantasy this week. They were blowing up again, and really, really upset at Jake Knapp shooting 62 and getting back in contention. Very upset about a good guy, Jake Knapp, getting into contention.
Jake Knapp on an absolute heater. His worst,
Jeff was not a fan of the Napster on that day.
Like Tiger, we all have vices. Mine happens to be when my guys don't play well, I have a problem. I take it personally. I can't quite handle not playing well on the weekend. It seems to be a pattern of mine.
He's going to keep riding Thorbjornsen every weekend till he does one well, and he's going to keep letting him down.
No, what's going to happen is I'm not going to pick him, and he's going to win, and then I'm going to get really mad at him.
Jeff, how about you make the smart decision? Go with Knapp. He's got one missed cut, but then the worst he's done is a T11.
Yeah, Knapp's had a great year. Knapp's been really good. Obviously, Nikolai Højgaard. The one guy that finally showed up, Johnny Kiefer, who
I knew you'd be happy about that.
Dominated Corn Ferry last year. Maybe the greatest Corn Ferry season they've ever had, and has done nothing on the PGA Tour this year. He got T3 with Minwoo, so that was cool. And then there's Knapp and Goddard.
Yeah, well, as we talked about on the podcast last week without you, Tim, we talked about, this is clearly one of the most predictable golf tournaments.
Yeah, Bomber's paradise of that course.
There's not a lot of dink and doinkers out there. It is let it rip, bomb away. The rough isn't, it's, what is it, 2 inches?
Yeah, no, and there's no real bunkering or anything hardly. Just let her rip.
Yeah, the green complex can be hard to hold if at times if you're coming, but these guys just hammer driver, get it up there. I don't think it's impossible to get up and down from spots, so they don't really have. There's water.
They do like playing because the green complexes are kind of like as close to Augusta as you get for slope and everything.
Wildly raised. Here's the thing, though, guys. It's a municipal course. We could pick up and go down there tomorrow and play. So they don't. Because they're probably allowing play up until maybe a week before, right? You don't really get the opportunity to grow out the rough like you do at some of the private clubs or some of the TPC clubs where they can kind of dictate when the course closes to really get harder conditions.
But I also think the tour wants to prep these guys for Augusta, and Augusta doesn't have a ton of rough either usually. That's true. So I'll be interested to see what Valero looks like this week if they're trying to kind of cut it down to where, Because Valero could play firm too. Those greens, you played that course, Tim. It could play firm if there's no wet, no rain or anything.
Yeah, it's usually quite firm. I mean, it's a really rocky soil, so you get a lot of bounce, and there are a lot of elevated greens, but you'd have to squint pretty good to try to compare that to Augusta. Because
No,
there's a
I'm
lot
just
of rock
saying.
outcroppings, and
I'm just saying for like the length of the rough, just to kind of like, because we've seen all these guys. They're a bunch of babies. They're gonna want if you had Valero this week at like 6-inch rough, and then you show up to Augusta with almost, they're gonna be like, well, we didn't get to practice our normal rough shots last week because we had to play out of the cabbage. That's how they operate. A bunch of them.
Well,
but,
and you want to get people there, right? You want to get decent golfers at your golf tournament, so you're going to actually listen to what they have to say. Otherwise, you're not going to get them.
Yeah, yeah. If you're not one of the major events, one of the a signature event or one of the big ones, you kind of got to cater to these guys. Otherwise, they might not show up.
Well, let's talk about these guys then. And I want to bring up the first heavy hitter of the group going to Valero.
Well, hold on. Morikawa withdrew. We better talk about that first. He withdrew today or yesterday. So is his back going to be ready for Augusta, which is really kind of sad. I'm not a big Morikawa guy, but he has been playing great this year. To not play at Augusta.
Well, this will be Morikawa not playing is going to. Nobody's going to come into Augusta like thinking, even if he does play, nobody's going to be picking him because he's got no recent data on him. I mean, he could certainly surprise everybody, but like it'd be one of those things like if you're betting or you're trying to pick against the grain, Morikawa could be a point because we don't have much recent data. We don't know if he's going to take 2 practice swings in WD, on Friday or whatever. Who knows what's going to happen. That's the risk you take with guys that are injured. But yeah, him WDing must be, I didn't think it was going to be as big of a deal, but it seems like it was a bigger tweak than maybe we once thought.
Yeah, must be.
Back problems are no joke. They're no joke.
I'm guessing, let's say this week was the Masters. He could maybe it's one of those situations where he could probably gut it out, but he figured why not just give it one more week and rest. He's got plenty of money. He's not playing for a card or anything like that. So,
what who has plenty of money now is the number one fan favorite or the power ranking favorite for the Valero, and that's Tommy Fleetwood, who signed with Blackstone.
What the hell? He's got a big hat, hideous hat, humongous logo on that thing.
Not to be confused with the Blackstone grills. If you're listening out there, not the Blackstone grills. Also, not BlackRock, the mega investor. This is a slightly smaller alternative investment company, but I'm sure still in the billions or trillions.
If he had signed with BlackRock, every Tommy Fleetwood fan should just be, we're not fans anymore.
This is the
most evil.
Slightly smaller.
I'm sure it's a lot smaller than BlackRock owns half the damn planet at this point. The evil empire that they are. But yeah, no, it's actually a decent field, even with Morikawa withdrawing. It's not bad. I mean, it's not great, but you got Henley, Big Shot Bob, JJ Spahn, Hideki, Fleetwood, Sepp Straka.
The Homer Spieth last one, the Valero.
Jeff's maybe going to roll with Thorbjornsen again. This is actually not a great Thorbjornsen course, probably.
I quit him for a while.
No, it's pretty tight, and you got to hit some long irons and some stuff there. Yeah, I mean it's but then you get
for you, Mike. I've got some numbers here.
Okay.
All right.
Ludwig's playing too.
Blackstone over or under $500 million in.
Oh, easily over. I'm sure.
Over or under $500 billion in management.
I'm gonna say a little under.
We are barely halfway there.
They have $1 trillion.
They have $1.4 trillion under management.
My God, what does BlackRock have though?
14 trillion.
God, isn't that insane? $14 trillion.
Just cut me off a sliver. I'm not asking for much over here.
Yeah, so they got over $1 trillion of investments and stuff, that they're managing, and they can't get a better looking hat than what they gave him. There's a giant black, a giant black rectangle on it, humongous.
Here's the irony too, is that I don't think he's signed the actual apparel contract. He's just signed the logo in contract with Blackstone. So I still don't know what he's going to be rocking in for apparel.
He's working his way to be the next Patrick Cantlay. He's gonna have things all over his cap.
Apollo. Yeah, I don't know. Fleetwood, actually probably a good course for Fleetwood because it's kind of a ball. Like Corey Connors always plays well here. It's kind of a ball strikers, iron player kind of course.
Yeah, I don't. I try to take. I'm not going to sit and glue myself. Actually, it's not going to be great weather here in Minnesota. I might watch a little bit more golf, but we know Saturday's the basketball games. I'm trying to think of anything else going on this weekend. I probably will watch a little bit, but I don't make appointment TV to watch the Valero. I know, Tim, you played the course. It doesn't do much for me. Unless there's somebody that's in contention that I'm rooting on or interested in, I will probably save all my TV watching energy for the Masters.
Jeff, there is someone you're interested in. We're in Texas. This is Jordan Spieth territory.
I already said Spieth. I'm looking for. I hope this is the last place that he won. So he won a couple years back.
He ain't. Has he had a top 10 this year yet?
Mike, you've come on this podcast and say you see something in him this year.
I do, but like not to a point where he's going to win.
Oh, did we think Gary Woodland was going to win by 5 this week, Mike? Did we think?
No, but like, okay. Gary Woodland just played a golf course that suits him well. He could win there.
Oh,
I know Jordan Spieth has won at this event before, but this is not the same Jordan. That was Jordan Spieth making some putts and stuff. Like I'm thinking more of. We've also seen him at this event. Remember the time we hit the tee shot into like the ditch and he was banking it off of like trees? Yes, he's hitting it. He's down by like, I don't even know where he is. He's off the map so far. That's the Jordan Spieth that I think is still playing. And I would say this. I think he has a better chance of winning next week than this week.
I was just going to ask. I said, fine, then you're picking the Masters because he clearly has history.
Yes, and at Augusta, you can spray it a little bit and get away with it. It's pretty wide corridors in spots. And again, you don't have to make a lot of putts at Augusta because really nobody does. The greens are tricky. So I would give him a better chance next week than this week, actually.
Well, we'll find out. I'm rooting extra hard for Spieth this week.
Yeah, it's good for the game if he gets back to like being a top dog kind of guy. I just don't ever see it. But maybe
he doesn't have the superpower. He doesn't have the incredible length. He doesn't have the incredible accuracy. He doesn't have the magical putting anymore. So what does that come out to be? He might get hot for a weekend or might, but he doesn't have the superpower short game / get up and down from anywhere to making every single 15-footer he looked at. Doesn't have that superpower anymore.
I don't even know if he gets hot for a week. Can he make 4 straight rounds and playing really well? I don't know if he can. I don't know if he's that consistent right now to do that.
There's some outside factors this week. Obviously, TPC San Antonio, the Oaks course plays really difficult. It's actually one of the tougher courses on the tour for the year. But wind gusts, sustained wind gusts through playing time are insane. The lightest it's going to be are going to be gusts to 20 on Thursday. But then we start to see things that are going to be close to 30 miles an hour throughout the remainder of the week.
Maybe the Valero will be appointment TV, maybe. That'd be sweet.
This is going to be a bloodbath if those win numbers stay similar to what they're saying now.
So who do we take in the wind, Corey? Like, who's going to get me? Who do I take this week, boys? Because I'm struggling on. I kind of want to take maybe Fleetwood at the top of my market, but I'm going to have to take a lot of bottom guys, and I can't feast on. I don't have enough money to spend on a bunch of the favorites.
Well,
who's the great win player?
Connors is always good there. I think all the time.
Can he play in the wind?
Yeah, he hits a draw. He's a great iron. He's top 5 iron player on tour. So those guys usually can hit iron shots, play them and stuff.
I got two guys in mind. Bobby McIntyre and Brian Harman.
Bobby Mack, I can see like scrapping it out. Brian Harman, I need to see more from. Here's the thing, Tim.
He hits a low ball. It's a draw.
But Tim,
Excellent putter.
There's something about him where I can't pick him. I don't.
I'm not saying I'm picking. He's not my favorite
I'm saying
guy in the world.
I'm looking for a guy to pick, and
I would take Brian Harmon just on principle.
I can't click on
I'm not
Brian.
going to pick him.
I can't click on Brian Harmon. Mike, you talked about him, Corey Connors being top 5 iron player on tour. Did you know that Tim and I are top 5 iron player on the Break 80 tour?
Are you? Wow.
There's only 3 of us, but
there's only 3, so you have to be top 5.
Top 5.
I think
it's nice to receive this.
Thorbjorn Olesen played pretty well last week.
Okay, he's in my price range.
I know, Sepp Straka has been playing pretty decent.
I have Sepp right now. He's in my lineup.
He's been playing pretty well, so he wouldn't be terrible. I don't know. I do think, of all the big dogs playing, the guy that's kind of trending a little bit is Ludwig. He's playing a little bit better, and he's always good at Augusta, so he's kind of getting it. I don't know.
But weird. I had him picked, and what happened on Sunday?
I know.
Melted down,
maybe we just ride Johnny Kiefer coming off a T3.
I actually went and looked at his history. He was since the 60s 4 times this last week. He was not even sniffing the 60s.
He's been 4 weeks. He's been horrible, and he's been horrible since he got to the PGA Tour this year. That was his best one by a mile.
His scores look like my gin handicap, a bunch of 77s and 76s.
Do you know who else has been remarkably consistent a lot of this year? Not every week, but even though Fitzy kind of ripped into him for slow play last week, is my boy ADDC has had a lot of top 15 kind of finishes. The Belgian. But I don't know.
Speaking of players from across the pond, Mimi Rhodes, 6th place in her, I think, her first LPGA event, or
she was in 3rd place going into the week Sunday.
So congrats to acquaintance of the pod, Mimi Rhodes. Some would say friend.
Yeah, we'll get her on the pod.
We don't know if she agrees with that statement, but we'll say friend.
We'll get her on the pod.
Well, it's been the HJ, Kim, and Nelly Corda. I mean, those two have played on lights out the last couple of weeks. It's been mano a mano going back and forth.
We haven't even talked about the event of the week yet. Easily the way better event than the Houston Open. Not even comparable. You go from a course where you can hit it literally anywhere. It's basically a driving range, to one of the most difficult golf courses in the world. And the owner has stated on record that he wants it to be the most difficult golf course in the world. And this tournament wails. They should play there 4 times a year. Every quarter they should go back there. The owner of this place, it's in India. It's in New Delhi. The owner tried to get the DP World Tour to relinquish control of the setup to him because he wants it to be the hardest course in the world. And he wanted to put every pin every day in a corner, all 4 days, all 18. And the DP World Tour said, "Are you nuts? Like, we're not doing that." They wouldn't give him control. But only 12 guys got shot under par in this tournament. Only 12 on the entire field, and nobody got to double digits. Nobody 9 under 1. Alex Fitzpatrick.
I'm looking at a Sharma right here. I don't know if it's your Sharma though, Jeff.
Mine's Shabunker.
Yeah, Jeff likes Shabunker.
This is
You're looking at. Are you looking at the high scores at the bottom?
Sheb Hanker.
Shabunker Sharma.
Got a 49 on the back, so I think there's hope for us yet here. Competitive golf, here we come.
Have you looked at these scores? People, if you have not started listening to me about the DP World Tour, it's amazing. It's absolutely must-watch TV in the morning. Guys that made the cut in this tournament shot 27 over, 24 over, 20 over, multiple guys. I mean, there were twice as many players that shot double digits over par that shot under par. It's absolutely spectacular. The 14th hole is a par 4, and it almost played as 5 was the stroke average, like 4.9 or something like that, 4.8 something, which you never see anywhere. Not even majors. It's absolute insanity how hard this golf course is.
Amardeep Malik shot an 89 in the first round this year. 89.
I know.
We're not even on break 80 watch. We're on break 90 watch.
And here's what's crazy about this. only 12 guys shot under par, including, a bunch where it's 1 or 2 under. There was almost no wind. They did not have wind at all, hardly. It was calm. I looked at New Delhi wind. It was like 5 miles an hour every day. There was no wind gusts, nothing. And this course is so hard that they could not do anything. We need to get a rider, a President's Cup. We can't have a Ryder Cup, a President's Cup to DLF. That would be absolutely spectacular.
Well, you quickly glanced over, but it's worth noting and talking about that the Fitzpatricks are taking over golf.
They're on a heater
because Matthew comes off a win, last week. Before the Shell Houston or not the Shell Houston, but the Houston Open.
The Valspar.
Yeah, well, at the Valspar, yep. And then you've got his brother winning. How about that? That's a cool little story in itself. The brothers.
Do we make them? The favorites at TPC Louisiana for the 2-man event? The Fitzpatricks, they usually play together.
You'd think that
the Zurich. You want them?
Yeah,
for the
Zurich.
I don't know. There's a lot of possible prison gangs that could get started here. A lot of good prison teams that could come up the ranks. Your
defending champs aren't Rory's not playing, so Shane Lowry needs a partner. Rory's not playing Zurich.
What?
Yeah, he pulled out yesterday. So you got the Fitzpatricks. Could possibly be your favorites. They're the hottest people probably right now.
How do you not go back to defend what is the most fun golf tournament of the entire season?
I don't know.
Well, I'm trying to remember. Did they win last year? They didn't win last year. They won 2 years ago.
Last year, I think.
Are you sure? I thought that was 2 years ago.
No, I'm looking at an article right here. It says Rory McIlroy leaves Shane Lowry high and dry as they look to defend. I think here. Let's see.
I thought it was 2 years.
Maybe
ago.
It was 2 years ago. Secure. Yes, 2024. There was. You're right.
How did we forget this? Ben Griffin and
Griffin and Novak, our guy. I forgot about that.
Oh man,
because Ben Griffin's done nothing. That's how we forgot about it. Yeah. I mean the Fitzies are hot, but like realistically, Eugenio Shakara kind of blew this one. He had like a 3-stroke lead going into Sunday, and Fitzpatrick only shot 3 under, which for that course like shooting 12 under, but past him. But there's a couple names here. Frankie Molinari getting ready for Augusta. Actually, he's probably not in the field. But Frankie Molinari, top 10. Matteo Manacero, top 10. Anyway, that's a great event. Wish there was more stuff there. It's fun to watch.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else in the golf world? I know we've hit on a couple. You got something?
I got one more thing for us. We'll see. We'll do a little trivia for you boys. I got to find it here. Hold on. I saved it. Where the hell do you find save things? Okay. This is from Golf Gods. So I don't know where they got this from. So who knows if this is actually accurate, but this is the real cost of golf per year. It says you could have bought a car, but you bought bogeys instead. Here we go. What do you guys think? Based on an average of $70, which is kind of generous for a green fee. It even says that. What do you think the average a person pays in a year for a total amount of money for green fees is?
Oh boy. I got to do some math here because I got to figure out how, is this in Minnesota? We have only like 6 months of golf. This is somebody that can play 12 months.
Yeah.
These guys are from Australia. So I don't know if this is an Australian number or what, but
I'm going to go average golfer plays 30 rounds a year. So $2,100.
Okay, Jeff.
3,500.
Close, 3,600. It says, based on an average of $70 a week, and that's being generous, you've definitely paid $120 for a course you tripled the first hole on and wanted to leave by the fourth. Okay, here's the next one. Dollar amount of balls lost for a year. It says at $5 a ball, we'll say.
At Cascada or not at Cascada?
Going pro Vs. What's the average amount of dollars in golf balls lost in a year?
I'm going to go $600.
350.
$720. Yep, $720. Okay. Gear you didn't need. So
Oh
equipment.
God. Does it count turbis tumblers?
No, it says new driver because the old one wasn't forgiving enough. A putter you saw on Instagram. A rangefinder upgrade when the first one worked fine. Head covers, towels, a divot tool you lost in the second hole. What's the total number of golf equipment purchased in a year?
$0. Duh.
Huh?
0.
Yeah, I know.
No.
Well, for us, but you know.
don't just get your golf
But
clubs
what
for
is the
free.
average person? What do you think?
Hmm.
Buy a
4,500.
new driver every year? No, that seems so high. 1,600.
Close, $1,800. Okay. Lessons you ignored. Okay. The pro told you to stop swaying. You said, yeah, that makes sense, and changed absolutely nothing. You're still swaying. The pro knows. You know. Everyone knows. What's the average person pay in lessons in a year?
I would probably. I don't think people. I don't think people are doing it all year round. I think they just do a couple here and there, try to get. So I'm just gonna say $400.
Tim?
I was going to go right around there. 500.
Yeah, $600. Food and drink on the course. It says $7 hot dogs at the turn that you tell yourself are just a snack. 2 cocktails, the carts because somebody said we're on holiday mode.
2.
And a full lunch in the clubhouse, steak, sandwich, chips, and a side you didn't need. Money spent on the course for food and beverage.
Oh God. Okay, hold on. Let me do my own numbers here.
Oh man, I don't know. Crying out loud. Let's I would have to put it so greens fees were, what did we say greens fee were? 3,500?
3,600, yeah.
3,600. I'd have to go because that'd be $70 roundish, and then you're probably looking at more like let's go $2,000.
Okay, he says 2.
I'm going to go off of my own numbers. 11 grand.
No, it's $1,500.
Oh.
Here we go. Next one, post-round beers. This is after the round, though. Post-round beers.
Oh crap! I thought that was part. I thought that was
No,
part
no.
of it.
Oh no, that was $1,500 only while you're golfing. This is after the round. It says you said just one at the clubhouse. It's never one. It's 3 schooners minimum. Well, you replay every shot, argue about who had the best drive on 14, and plan the next round that'll cost you the same. What do we got for the amount of money spent on post-round beers?
I'm just going off of the nicest courses that we've played. We probably played, I don't know, 50 great courses this last year. I think I probably averaged around $100 on food, beer, drink spent after the round on those great ones. So I'm gonna go $5,000.
No, I'm going less than that. $800.
2,400. It's right in the middle of you two. Right in the middle. 2,400. Here we go. Golf clothes.
You gotta live harder, Jeff.
Golf clothes and shoes. New polos because the dress code requires it. A second pair of golf shoes. Pants that only see a golf course. A belt that matches nothing. You dress better for golf than you do for any other occasion in your life. What do we got?
I'm gonna go back to the classic $0, but
well, that's for the average person.
Let's go $1,500.
Okay, Jeff.
I'll go 1,200.
Exactly, 1,200. Okay, here's the next one. Apps,
double bonus.
Apps, bets, and memberships. GPS app subscription, handicap tracking, the sweet money you never win back. That one time you bought a swing analysis app, filmed yourself once, watched it back in horror, and never opened it again. How much are people paying for bets and apps and all kinds of stuff? I'm
just realizing how many of these I actually have and I'm paying for and I don't use.
No, that gave me some.
God, are we paying for shot patterns still? I know that I'm.
No, I don't know. I'm not. I canceled mine because I don't use it.
I think I did. I think I've got a shot tracer on there I haven't used in years.
Let's go $700. I don't know.
I'm gonna go for
$650.
Wow.
Yep. So here's the total. It says so the total cost, your annual golf invoice, on average, $12,470, and you still can't break 90. It says.
That seems reasonable.
Well, well worth it though. Well worth it.
Yeah. What kind of car can you get for $12,000?
Some of the comments are spectacular. So he says, but golf gets you away from your wife for a few hours. That time with her could lead to divorce, which is much more expensive. So he put, hoping my wife doesn't see this shit. I reposted it. Oh, man. Rookie numbers somebody posted. Oh, man. Yeah, these are some good ones. Yeah, so that's the average golf cost supposedly.
Well,
you can't take it with you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Our season's still just starting up, so I look forward to a lot of rounds with you gentlemen and some other, of course. And I'm hoping my dad is on the mend. He won't be able to golf until August. So yeah, he's had a shoulder surgery, so I'm looking forward to him.
My dad had his shoulder surgery done last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
My dad turned 72 today. He's got a fake shoulder.
Hey, happy birthday.
Yep.
To the guy that made Big Mike.
Yep. You know it. You know it.
So, well, it was a pleasure talking. Hopefully we get more things resolved. It'd be interesting to see where things go with Tiger. And I'm sure every day we'll kind of add pieces to the more of this puzzle. But thanks for following along if you have. Happy birthday to a listener. John Free's birthday today. So happy birthday
to Beaver Hoops.
Yeah, Beaver Hoops. Shout out to John Free. It's birthday. And with that being said, the difference between 79 and 80 is everything.